Here we go. One of our favorite, absolute favorite, just sources of easy content, Tim Pool. Tim Pool, he runs some kind of a summer camp where kids get to be kids. No parents. These parents always around.
No.
It's your typical summer camp with Tim Pool. Skateboarding, water slides, spreading misinformation to dimwits on YouTube. All the cool stuff he used to do. Bunk beds! There's a account on Twitter called Tim Pool Clips, and they upload a lot of hilarious, goofy Tim Pool clips because he is... I mean, God bless him. So for some reason, they're talking about the Cuba embargo instead of what they should be talking about, which is skateboards and taco night. There's taco night in the canteen or whatever. They're talking about the Cuba embargo, and somehow it comes, I don't know how, but somehow it comes to this.
There's a homeless guy outside, and he's like, let me sleep in your house. And I'm like, no, you are causing my suffering. It is your fault. Then activists show up, and they're like, the only reason this man is suffering is because Tim Pool won't let him in his house. It's like, no, the dude is responsible for his own shelter, man.
To a point, but the French Revolution...
No, literally to period.
Well, but if there's a monarch that's hoarding all the materials so that the people are starving and suffering, it is the monarch's fault.
Why?
Because he's by force keeping them from their stuff or the stuff that their community has produced.
So can they like leave?
It depends. I mean,
is the king going, you can't even leave?
That actually is a good question because where are you going to go? Are you going to go west?
Right.
You go in the middle of the woods.
Oh yeah. I mean, that works with us.
My point is about Cuba.
Yeah.
Cuba's food problem is Cuba's problem. Cuba's medicine problem is Cuba's problem. There is no obligation from any other country to give to them.
So someone said what I was thinking, and surprise, it's friend of the show, Vadim, and he says, Tim Pool, French Revolution understander. Would love to hear how consistent his take is on the American Revolution. So remember, Tim Pool's idea was don't do the French Revolution, don't fight the monarchs. Don't do that, just walk away and live in the forest. And this is him on the American Revolution now.
It was people realizing that you don't just get to be in charge because you said you're in charge. Yeah. And that's what the American Revolution was. They're like, hey, wait a minute. Why is he king again?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because God made him king. We don't have a king and we're just fine.
No, we're going to rule ourselves and elect our own rulers and do this together.
I get all my news from this channel. What is it called? Tim Pool's IRL or whatever. I get all my news from this channel, but I'm a little confused because in the first video, he's like, revolution against the king is bad. Fighting against the king is bad when it's in France, but it's good when it's in the United States. Do you want to clarify, Tim Pool, what's going on? No, I don't, actually. I would like to continue collecting the inordinate amount of money I make from this absolute disaster of a channel, but no, I'm okay. I'm okay. He really is like, I had no interest in watching this guy until I saw these like funny clips of him coming up. But his channel is legitimately funny to watch because he just kind of like riffs on things. He really just kind of like, he knows the points he has to hit because the people that subscribe to him, he's like tricking sort of a Trump dimwit. He knows he has to hit certain points and then he just kind of riffs. He just does jazz. He just does jazzy notes. It's the notes you don't play for Tim. He's like Thelonious Monk if Thelonious Monk was terrible and like tricked people into like not getting a vaccine and then getting sick and dying. Hey, did you hear that new Thelonious album where it's spoken word? He just comes out on the record and he says, don't get vaccinated. I mean, it is like he's got 250,000 views on this video already. And
that actually is a good question because where are you going to go? Are you going to go west?
Right.
You go in the middle of the woods.
Oh yeah. I mean, that works.
He has his little sippy drink of water and he's like, go in the woods. Go live in the woods. Okay. Just do what they did during the American Revolution. Just hide in the woods. Just hide in the woods. No, Tim, they actually fought a war. Hide underground. Hide underground. Go under the ground. Build like an ant farm underground and live in the ant farm. They can't find you. How would they get food and sunlight? Build a series of tunnels and eat dirt and do an underground farm. I do like the imagination though. Like I like his little riffs because they are kind of creative in a childish way, like the idea of all these peasants and serfs and stuff go live in the forest instead of doing a revolution in France. Because I think that he probably pictures like the king sees them in the forest, you know, and he's like, well, what are you doing over there? And all the peasants are like, we have built our cooler life out here. And he's like, can I join? And they're, no, you can't. He's like, oh, I blew it. I shouldn't have been such a penis. The king comes over to the forest. He's like, is that a tree fort? And all the serfs are like, yeah, but you can't go in it, king, you piece of shit. He's like, I'm sorry about all the things I did. No, still not letting you in the fort. You know what? We appreciate the apology, but we're still not letting you in the fort. God damn you. I really do think that he thinks in those terms, which is it's endearing. You know, do the parents still need to step in and like get in there and have some sort of rules and sort of some boundaries for him? Yes, absolutely. And of course, the funniest thing about this, he's talking about the Cuba situation. This is how he starts it.
There's a homeless guy outside, and he's like, let me sleep in your house. And I'm like, no, you are causing my suffering. It is your fault. Then activists show up, and they're like, the only reason this man is suffering is because Tim Pool won't let him in his house. It's like...
So I guess Cuba is the homeless man trying to sleep in Tim Pool's house. Tim Pool is America in this scenario, and Cuba is a homeless man. Let me just, to quote the great philosopher and psychologist Elon Musk on Joe Rogan's program, let me just break it down for this fool right here. Let me give a very, very clear and obvious example that even he can understand. Just to make this clear. As my own human person, I would like to, I don't know, maybe once a year, go to Cuba. But the guy who he loves, President Trump, came in and tightened the travel ban. So now me as a free person can't go over there, which is like 2 hours away. It's like the easiest plane trip to get over to Cuba. I can't go. It's illegal now. And the dude that he likes, Trump, cut off cruises, and then he cut off pretty much every other form of travel. It's basically illegal. So tourism went way down. And we looked at this in 2019. In 2019, huge hit on tourism. So that's maybe not the most important example, but that's a very clear and obvious example of it's not like he's saying of just like, oh, why don't they fix stuff on their own? No, there's actually things that are intended to cause problems with this country. This is, I'm really disappointed because usually I devote my full attention to this channel of Tim Pool and I go like this over and over. To everything he says, I'm like, wow, that's really profound. And I go, By the way, I watched the video that this is clipped from, and it had already, just a day or two, 250,000 views. Probably more by now. 250,000 views. People are like, wow, that's a really profound idea. Think of this. Instead of doing the French Revolution, they could have just wandered out into the woods, which, by the way, was also owned by the king. But why didn't they think of that, these absolute dimwits? I don't know if it's worth it, because it's probably a pretty easy life, because this dimwit Tim Pool makes so much money doing this. That's the thing, like, you'll see that I'll play a little bit more of this clip, a little section of this clip where Tim Pool thinks that he's a genius, and I've seen this attitude before in American Morons. There's a large swath of people who are this kind of moron, where it's, they have some income, like they somehow made a lot of money, and they're like, well, I'm making a lot of money, I must be a genius, and everybody has to listen to me. And you can tell from this that that's exactly what Tim Pool thinks. Well, I got a silver thing from YouTube, and I got a lot of money from this, so I must be an absolute genius, and everybody must bow before me, and what I say is golden. Except for the fact that what Tim Pool does is just sort of pumps out videos that only idiots watch, that only dimwits and people who want to make fun of his videos watch. So it's just funny to see this attitude of a guy who really thinks he's a Professor Pool. Here we go.
The stuff that their community has produced.
So can they leave?
It depends. I mean,
we got to get a zoom in on that face.
keeping them from their stuff or
Wait, wait,
the stuff that
wait.
their community has produced.
So can they like leave?
It depends.
He's like, try dealing with that one. Can they just leave? Checkmate. Checkmate. He clicks a thing and the guy's seat ejects. Checkmate. Right? Good luck dealing with that one. Because I'm clearly a very smart guy. Because I make a lot of money from super chats. I got $100 super chat from a guy who a piano fell on his head. Think you're smarter than that? Nice try. Go ahead. Checkmate. Click.
With us.
My point is about Cuba.
Yeah.
Cuba's food problem is Cuba's problem. Cuba's medicine problem is Cuba's problem. There is no obligation from any other country to give to them.
I mean, just the idea that this guy who goofs around all day, tricking people, tricking memas and peepaws on YouTube for millions of dollars. The idea, even with his level of understanding of what's going on in Cuba, that he could come up here and be like, well, look, if they don't have medicine and blah, 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 that's their problem. This guy who does absolutely nothing all day and goofs around all day, little bit of a different roll of the dice. Just the corner of the dice hits the table a little bit differently. He's born in Cuba. One more time with this bonehead. Here we go.
The stuff that their community has produced.
So can they like leave?
Maybe if you use that noggin of yours, you could come up with the following idea that those peasants from the late 1700s could just walk into the woods. He's walking away to this theme song. Think of another part of this problem is one, the sort of moron reinforcement mechanism of like, I have a lot of money. I must be a real genius, even though it's all other morons who found my channel. The other thing is that you surround yourself with people who they want to keep making sucking money off of you. So they'll be like, yeah, Tim Pool, you're a real genius, number one. So you don't have the sort of, how can we put this? Like the market mechanism, the sort of self-realization mechanism of like, oh, you know what? Maybe I need to work on this. Maybe I need to read some books. Maybe I need to look some crap up because I am a moron. I'm a dimwit. Okay? And this is coming from somebody who at least realizes that he's a moron and a dimwit and could use to maybe put down the snacks every once in a while and pick up a book. You know? Hey, why don't we skip Dairy Queen this time and check out a book? The library is literally in between me and Dairy Queen, where I live in Dairy Queen. But I can't make that stop. I can't make that sacrifice. The other thing is that he's kind of saying like, well, why can't Cuba just be, I guess, like North Korea? Why can't they just be all on their own and do their own thing? Why? I think he actually, there's a part where he says, why can't they just catch fish? I mean, like he literally knows nothing about Cuba. I bet he pictures Cuba as just sort of like everything's on fire and there's no hospitals and stores and they don't have food and stuff, first of all. But second of all, like all his sort of, what would you call them? Right-wing friends, right-wing types like Tim Pool and Fox News and all this crap. They're basically saying now that the U.S. military needs to invade Cuba. So it's like, why can't they just be left alone? Also invade them with the military. Let's get it in slow-mo. Here we go.
So can they like leave?
Your move. Can they just leave? Your move. Get good luck with that one. So I guess I'd like to say to Tim Pool, look, if that homeless guy is giving you such a hard time to live in your house, right? He's like, let me live in there. He's got his, probably in Tim Pool's mind, he's got his stick with his bindle on the end of it with, can of beans, can of sardines probably. What else do those hobos got in there? Pocket knife, deck of cards probably. Maybe one of those deck of cards with like the pinup girls, I would say. But they're kind of faded and old. And a harmonica. So that homeless guy's giving Tim Pool a really hard time. Tim Pool's like, I'm sick of this homeless guy always trying to live in my house. Why doesn't Tim Pool just leave? Just leave your house. Just avoid this problem altogether, Tim Pool, and leave your home. because this homeless guy's causing too much crap. So there you go. You know, again, just he really is an inspirational YouTuber, especially for me, because it's like, you know, he just kind of riffs through stuff. He knows some points he's got to hit because all his viewers are Mimas and Peepas. But he's a very inspirational figure, you know. He found himself an audience, and he does this full time. Good for you, Tim.
Make pee-pee, make pee-pee. Booga laka booga blah 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 blah.
Oh, one more thing. If you're watching this on Monday or Wednesday, please join the live stream. It's at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on YouTube. Thank you, and...
Weird.
Hey everybody, and thanks so much for watching this video. Like all the other YouTube and podcast perverts, I now have a Patreon. Every week on this Patreon, I'm uploading 2
exclusive
Patreon-exclusive shows. They're like real shows, more produced, more edited.
a behind-the-scenes show where I reveal all my secrets, and a show where we go deep on an important topic that you will want to know about. Also, you get the daily and complete live show audio-only feeds. And at the top level, for only 25 bones, you can become a producer. These people that you're seeing right here make this program possible. Without them, nothing. It goes right in the toilet, right in the trash, and we set it on fire. It's these people who make it work. So please, for Christ's sake, become a patron. Bye-bye, love you.